field, the modernization of the national health industrial complex was promoted through partnerships for productive development, PDPs. PDPs aim to stimulate innovation in the industrial health complex, articulating public and private sectors, and improving national pharmaceutical and chemical industries through technology transfer. With such partnerships, an important consumer market was created, favoring national development. PDPs seek precisely to make use of the size and strength of our public market in order to favor national technology development. In this context, partnerships with Indian companies stand out, mainly in the transfer of API technology for the manufacture of drugs for the treatment of tuberculosis distributed by SUS. It is also worth highlighting the fact that 4 out of 5 antiretroviral drugs we buy through the PAHO Strategic Fund come from India. The Brazil-India relationship in the health area is not limited to generic drugs. It also encompasses traditional medicine. In February 2020, Brazil and India signed a memorandum of understanding on cooperation in the field of traditional systems of medicine and homeopathy. In the American region, Brazil is the pioneer in offering complementary and integrative therapies in the public health system. The prospects for the future partnerships in the pharmaceutical industrial field with India may further support our duty to provide health to all. I would like to raise 3 main promising areas for future cooperation: fostering strategies for the development of the Brazilian economic industrial health complex, reinforcing partnerships for technical cooperation for the production and supply of API, and promoting exchange of knowledge for innovation between public and private entities in order to increase national production of strategic products. In conclusion, I would like to point out that Brazil and India have a very promising cooperation path to follow. We should continue to create synergies between Brazilian and Indian public and private entities in the pharmaceutical sector. You can certainly count on our efforts in order to achieve health and mutually beneficial results. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Antonio, for your encouraging remarks. Thank you, sir. Now, I request His Excellency, Mr. Andre Arnaia Correa de Lago, Ambassador of Brazil to India, to deliver his address.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be with you this evening, and I want to thank Mr. Uday Bhaskar for the invitation, as well as my dear friend, the new ambassador to India, the ambassador of Brazil to India, the opposite. You see, I'm ready. You're such an amazing ambassador that I think you are the Brazilian ambassador. But the ambassador of India to Brazil, my dear friend Suresh Reddy. I want to also salute Mr. Misra, who has been so helpful here in Delhi, as well as Suresh Kumar, dear friend, that I'm very happy that we can discuss together. But it is with special pleasure that I see the Executive Secretary of the Ministry of Health of Brazil, Mr. Antonio Elcio Franco Filho, because your words were absolutely to the point. I think that we have in Brazil, as you stressed, with SUS, one of the most extraordinary institutions, and we have been able to do what is the admiration of the world, because no country has such a large universal coverage as Brazil has, and as a developing country with extraordinary results. And I want to salute also Mr. Antonio Parra Torres, the president of Anvisa. Good to see you. Anvisa is another exceptional Brazilian institution. And what I think that we have to remember now that we have this strong bilateral relation, that we have a plan of action that our leaders have approved, that we have so many agreements, as was mentioned, by the way, by Mr. Franco. I believe that we have to remember that our two countries have something very strong in common, is that they have at the same time exceptional science, exceptional R&D, exceptional institutions, and at the same time still have very strong challenges, social challenges, and people that deserve special attention. I think that very few countries have the extremes we have. So I believe that our institutions have a very natural dialogue because they understand both things. In many developed countries, they have forgotten what is poverty, or they don't understand the challenges that we have in our gigantic territories. But Brazil and India understand perfectly the challenges of the other. And so I'm extremely glad with this event that puts together the key people that can make this friendship and the common work between our two countries in the pharmaceutical dimension. And we cannot forget the importance of our industries. We have all the way from a large consumer market to scientists, to institutions, government institutions, and we have extremely bold businessmen that are creating extraordinary investments. And I take this opportunity to thank the very important investments of Indian pharmaceutical companies in my country and the great job they are doing there. And so I salute all the producers, all these people that are developing amazing medicines. And I remind that Brazil has two institutes that are very much committed to the vaccines regarding COVID, which are the Fundação Oswaldo Cruz and also the Instituto Butantan. So we are dealing here with two countries that speak the same language in this area. And I expect, and you can expect from me, all the support possible for this, for us to really have a unique relationship in the pharmaceutical area. So congratulations for the event, and I'm really very glad to be participating.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for your information. And you have correctly pointed out that both the India and Brazil have many things in common, exceptional science, R&D, and together, surely we will take this friendship to the next level, and we will try to strengthen the partnership between India and Brazil. Thank you, sir. Now, I request Mr. Shyamal Mishra, Joint Secretary, EP Pharmaceuticals, Department of Commerce, Ministry of Commerce in India, Government of India, to address the delegates.
Thank you very much. I hope I am audible to everyone.
Yes, sir.
I would like to first of all congratulate and thank our ambassadors from both sides, our ambassador of India to Brazil and ambassador of Brazil to India, for jointly organizing this excellent webinar for boosting the pharma business between different countries. I also thank the senior officials, the executive secretary from Ministry of Health in Brazil, also President Anvisa for joining this interaction. I also would like to thank my colleague in Department of Commerce, Mr. Suresh Kumar, for helping in organizing this. And of course, thanks are due to Mr. Uday Bhaskar, DG Pharmexcel, as well as all the senior officials and colleagues from ministries and embassies on both sides, and our friends from the media and from the pharma industry who have joined today in this important webinar. It's a reflection of today's times that even though we are so far distant physically from each other, but we are able to talk to each other through this webinar in these difficult times. And indeed, it's a reflection that we can come together, that distances cannot keep us apart, and we can come together to boost our business and our economic relationships. Uh, India is a major player in the global pharmaceutical trade. Uh, we have very large pharmaceutical domestic business as well as pharmaceutical exports to the extent of more than $20 billion of pharma exports last year. And out of this, Brazil is a very, very important partner and destination for India's pharma exports. It was at number 5 last year in terms of the countries that Indian pharma exports to. But and there has been growth in the last financial year as well as in the current year. But there is a lot of scope to do much better than what we are doing. There is a lot of scope to cooperate and come together in many more areas. And I'm sure this webinar and more interactions like this in future will contribute that direction. Uh, Indian pharma has its strengths not just in generics, but also in APIs, in bulk drugs, in biosimilars. Our companies have got a US and EU. And it's also well known that more than 700 Indian pharmaceutical manufacturing locations have got approvals from US FDA and such stringent regulatory authorities like US FDA, European agency, as well as Japan and Australia. So it's a reflection of high quality and as well as affordable healthcare that Indian pharma can provide. And this is where, if India and Brazil can come together, it will be a win-win situation for both of us. We understand that Brazil also imports almost $7 billion of formulation imports last year, out of which India's share was only about $350 million. So it shows that there is a lot of scope for India to provide Brazil its high quality and affordable healthcare, and because of the great value proposition, it will also add a lot of value to Brazil. We also seek greater cooperation in government public procurement as well as partnership between the private companies from both sides. As speakers before me have alluded to, India has been always been a very reliable and a dependable partner, and nothing brought this out more uh, clearly and more distinctly than the fortunate COVID crisis that we are going through. During this time, India not only managed its own domestic needs of more than 1.4 billion people, but was also able to provide for essential pharmaceutical exports, pharmaceutical medicines to more than 150 countries. And we were delighted to help our friends and partners all across the world, including Brazil. And I hope that we will be able to build on our long-term bonds of friendship as well as business. I'm sure that with the presence of senior officials of Ministry of Health and drug regulator also here, their blessings, our businesses from both sides, and our trade can scale up multiple times and really fulfill each other's needs. It will really be a win-win situation for both of us. With these words, I hope that this interaction will be very useful for both our sides. We'll be able to form new bonds of partnerships between our Indian and Brazilian businesses. Thank you very much for organizing.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable remarks. Now, I request Mr. S. Suresh Kumar, Joint Secretary, FTLAC, Department of Commerce, Ministry of Commerce and Industry, Government of India, to deliver his talk.
His Excellency Mr. Suresh Reddy, Ambassador of India to Brazil, His Excellency Mr. Antonio Franco Flo, Executive Secretary, Ministry of Health, Republic of Brazil, His Excellency Mr. Andre Correlago, Ambassador of Brazil to India, my colleague Sri Shamal Mishra, Joint Secretary, handling pharmaceuticals, Mr. Antonio Barra Torres, President, Anvisa, Mr. Uday Bhaskar, Director General, Pharmaceutical, and all the participants from India and Brazil. Good morning and good afternoon to all of you. It's indeed a very important meeting which was organized under the dynamic guidance of His Excellency Suresh Reddy. After joining as the ambassador in Brazil, he has identified the key sectors where India and Brazil can actually leverage its trade relationship, and pharmaceutical sector was identified as one of the primary sectors. And I thank Sri Suresh Reddy for taking this initiative. As was already spoken by the previous speakers, both the sides duly recognizes that India and Brazil share a very, very strong bilateral strategic partnership and enjoy close coordination and cooperation in most of the issues bilaterally and plurilaterally in several forums. Both the countries are economic giants or the economic leaders in their respective regions. And as was pointed out, though the bilateral trade between the two countries have crossed about $7 billion US, in comparison to the export potential and the import potential of both the countries, this is actually very, very small today. So there is a need for working together in increasing the bilateral trade between the two countries and identifying the key sectors where we can actually complement each other is very, very important. Pharmaceutical sector being one of the very important sectors, especially in this post-COVID era, when we realize the importance of public health and the need for providing affordable medical facilities, including the generic drugs. This becomes very, very important. It's globally recognized that Indian pharmaceutical industry is one of the best in the world, not only about the quality of the drugs, but also the cost of the drugs. India is able to today provide many of the drugs which are best in the world at significantly lower price. Any country who is having an agreement with India for import of pharmaceuticals will actually benefit from this. They will be able to provide more affordable health care for their citizens. Already, Brazil has already taken several initiatives. I am very happy and thank the officials there that in last few years, we have actually done a lot of interaction, and we had signed an MOU between the Central Drug Authority of India and ANVISA, which has actually opened up many issues. Many of the issues were actually resolved. But there are a few issues which I am sure will be discussed today, which can be further improved, including the granting the deemed approval status to the Indian pharmaceutical manufacturers who have already got the approval from the US FDA and the European Union. So giving a deemed approval status to these Indian manufacturing facilities will really help a lot. Similarly, Suomoto product registration may also be granted by the Brazil's drug regulatory authority, which can actually even speed up a lot of exports. Procurement agencies in Brazil also may be requested to provide level playing field to the Indian companies which are having significant presence already there. Most of the top Indian pharma companies already have their presence there. So they're based on the experience which the Brazilian side have about their performance, about the quality and the other aspects of the drugs, this can be further facilitated. I am also very happy to note that more than 100 participants from both the sides are there in this today's virtual meet. This shows the importance and the significance and the enthusiasm which both the sides have. I wish all the best for this event, and I take this opportunity to thank His Excellency Suresh Reddy, the team of Pharmaceutical, and the Brazilian side for participating in big numbers and making this event a grand success. Thank you and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, sir, for your insights on the regulatory approvals and your valuable remarks. Now, I request Mr. Antonio Barra Torres, President ANVISA, to address the delegates.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador Suresh Reddy, Ambassador of India to Brazil, Mr. Ambassador André Correia do Lago, Ambassador of Brazil to India, Mr. Uday Bhaskar, Director General of the Pharmaceutical Export Promotion Council of India. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start by referring to the importance at the highest political level given to relations between Brazil and India. We are democratic countries with a large territorial extension and large population, with the common challenge of pursuing economic development. We have great potential for increasing trade and investment. In the specific case of pharmaceutical sector, the numbers for both countries are impressive. As you know, India has the third largest pharmaceutical industry in the world in terms of production volume. It's the world's largest producer of vaccines, the largest supplier of generic drugs, and an important supplier of active pharmaceutical ingredients, APIs. An immediate consequence of this importance is the fact that India is the country where ANVISA most conducts international inspections. In the case of Brazil, it's worth remembering that we are the 6th largest pharmaceutical market in the world, and we are in constant growth. It is in this context that Brazilian Health Regulatory Agency observes the contribution of Indian pharmaceutical companies to reduce the cost of medicine and increase the share of affordable generics. Since the Indian industry is traditionally known for its ability to supply generic drugs at competitive prices. In the regulatory aspect, both Brazil and India have experienced intense movements to improve their legal frameworks. As the agency responsible for regulating 22.8% of the Brazilian economy, Anvisa acknowledges the importance of favoring the economic environment for from one country to another to learn about work procedures. Excuse me, let's get a little back. As the agency responsible for regulating 22.8% of the Brazilian economy, Anvisa acknowledges the importance of favoring the economic environment for the regulated sector, particularly in the case of pharmaceuticals, as a way of expanding the population's access to quality, safe, and effective drugs. In the Brazilian case, Law 13.848, which modernizes the management of regulatory agencies, and Law 13.874, which highlights the importance of economic freedom and determines the reduction of bureaucracy, both of 2019 are prominent references. We are committed to improve the process of drafting and reviewing normative acts and to favor a great engagement and participation of stakeholders. Using a sports metaphor, it's our duty to set the rules of the game, and I assure you that we are committed to establish clear and transparent regulations aligned with the most advanced international standards. At the same time, it is important to notice the leading role of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Brazilian Trade and Investment Promotion Agency, Apex Brazil, in the efforts of attracting foreign investments to strategic sectors of the Brazilian economy. As a regulatory agency, this specific task is beyond our scope. I would also like to mention that Anvisa is engaged in the most important international initiatives for regulatory convergence. We act in accordance with the guidelines of the Brazilian foreign policy and seek to reaffirm the agency's engagement in the definition of the best international regulatory practices. We are also committed to strengthening the dialogue with our Indian counterpart, the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization. Both Anvisa and CDSCO take part in ICMRA, the International Coalition of Medicine Regulatory Authorities, where Anvisa is a member of the Executive Committee, and in ICH, the International Council for Harmonization of Technical Requirements for Pharmaceuticals for Human Use, where Anvisa is member of the Management Committee. Bilaterally, Anvisa and CDSCO signed in 2016 the Memorandum of Understanding that allows the exchange of regulatory experiences and their best practices, exchange of information on the requirements of the two countries, visits from one country to another to learn about procedures and their regulatory processes, coordination during international forums, and exchange of information on topics of mutual interests. Personally, I hope to be able to travel to India in the near future for the 19th edition of the International Conference of Drug Regulatory Authorities, ICDRA. The conference, which was initially scheduled for October this year, was postponed to 2021. I believe it will be an additional opportunity to strengthen Anvisa's ties with our Indian counterpart. Finally, I could not conclude without referring to the COVID-19 pandemic, a challenge of extraordinary proportions. We were all driven to change our work dynamics. This event, in a totally virtual format, is an example of how we all were able to adapt. In case of regulators, coping with the pandemic has shown how cooperation and exchange information are essential for an adequate response. We are in the constant process of sharing data with the most important regulators about treatment protocols and vaccines under investigation, for example. At Anvisa, we have adopted a series of measures with the objective of protecting the population's health and guaranteeing the supply of products and services necessary to face the pandemic. Throughout its 21 years of existence, the Brazilian Health Regulatory Agency has achieved a position among the main regulatory authorities in the world. We are all committed to contribute to Brazilian development, which necessarily means the development of the sector regulated by the agency. Count on Anvisa, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspirational thoughts and your wonderful address. Now, once again, I request His Excellency Mr. Suresh K. Reddy, Ambassador of India to Brazil, to give his remarks.
Thank you. Thank you. I am not going to be speaking much, just two messages. One is I wanted to convey a message from the Indian industry to His Excellency, the Executive Secretary for Ministry of Health, Mr. Antonio Flacio. They wish to be more active partners in the PDP program. I believe today the Indian companies have the technology and the ability to be a bigger player in the PDP program, and they would like to be an active partner with you, Excellency, in this process. And I've also been asked to convey our appreciation and gratitude to the President of Anvisa, Mr. Antonio Barra. They are actually seeing a lot of changes in Anvisa, in the way Anvisa has been engaging with the Indian industry. Thank you so much, sir, for that. And I also want to thank you for the next session, which you are going to have, the question and answer session with your experts from Anvisa. That is something which is very unique, and I'm really grateful. And our industry is very grateful to you, Mr. Antonio, for making it possible. Thank you so much. Back to you, Dr. Gayatri.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable remarks. Now, I request Ms. Lakshmi Prasanna, Director Regulatory Affairs of Pharmaceutical Export Promotion Council of India, to give away her presentation on India pharma industry and its contribution to the world.
Thank you, Dr. Gayatri. His Excellency Suresh Reddy, Ambassador of India to Brazil. His Excellency Mr. Andre Aranya Correa Julago, Ambassador of Brazil to India. And Mr. Antonio Elcio Franco Filho, Executive Secretary of Health, Brazil. And Shri Shamal Mishraji, Joint Secretary, Department of Commerce. Shri Suresh Kumarji, Joint Secretary, Department of Commerce. And Mr. Antonio Barra Torres, President Anvisa. And all the esteemed delegates, good morning and good evening. I'm extremely delighted to have this opportunity to present about Indian pharma industry and its strengths and contributions to the global world, especially in the tough times of the COVID-19. Before giving my presentation, I would like to just recall the interaction the industry of India had with His Excellency Suresh Kumar Reddy before resuming his charge as the ambassador. We sincerely thanks for the keen interest and keen negotiations led by His Excellency with the kind cooperation of Suresh sir and Shamal Mishra sir with the industry of the Indian pharmaceutical industry, and understanding the challenges that they are facing and the cooperation that the industry could work with the Brazil companies in the pharmaceutical sector, especially in this fight of the COVID-19. I sincerely thank you, sir, for your proactive approach in strengthening the relationship between both the nations. Please allow me, sir, to share my presentation. Thank you, sir. Before elaborating my presentation, I would like to take a minute to brief about Pharmaceutical and our activities for the benefit of industry members from the Brazil. Pharmaceuticals Export Promotion Council of India was established by the Government of India under Foreign Trade Policy in the year of 2004. And the objective is majorly to facilitate the exports of pharmaceuticals and allied products, and includes all the product range of APIs, generics, vaccines, traditional medicines, and medical devices. And every single exporter of all these categories are the members of Pharmaceutical. And Pharmaceutical can be seen as a single source of contact to reach all these exporters. Currently, we have about 4,800 registered members. And to meet this objective of facilitation of exports, we advocate for the needs of the industry, especially on the export front, and make suggestions to the government and also the regulatory agencies, especially on the policy matters. And to promote our exports, Pharmaceutical, with the kind support of missions abroad, we identify the market opportunities across the world and organizes the promotional events and trade delegations and do the matchmaking. And another key activity that the Pharmaceutical is being done is that we are developing the market reports and regulatory information of the leading export destinations for the benefit of our members and guiding the industry members on these areas regularly. So when we talk about the Indian pharmaceutical industry, as the esteemed delegates have already mentioned the strengths of the industry, so the industry has established itself as the sector of strategic importance for the global community. It's being serving not only to the Indian population, but because of its competitive strength in exports, we are serving as a pharmacy to the world. So the current size of the industry is approximately $43 billion, dividing equally in the domestic as well as the export market. The industry is contributing significantly to the public health improvement and the economic growth of India in terms of lot of initiatives. And it emerged as a major exporter of generic formulations to the globe. And we are supplying the generic medicines to more than 206 nations. We currently rank number 3 in terms of volume and number 10 in terms of value. And it's being recognized by our earlier speakers also. India is emerged as a pharmacy to the world. And we are leading suppliers, not just the generics, but also the APIs and vaccine space. And it is very heartening to learn that 30% of API requirements of Brazil are being sourced from India. And even if we see the WHO pre-qualified APIs, 90% of this WHO pre-qualified APIs are being sourced from India. So the success of the industry is majorly because of the competitive strength of the Indian pharma industry, especially in the regulated environment, and their commitment to the quality consciousness and the technical expertise. We have the highest number of the regulated approved facilities, especially the US FDA approved facilities outside the boundaries of United States. And if we see the number of units which got the GMP certifications from the European Agency and US FDA, we have more than 600 facilities. And year on year, the Indian companies are bagging more than 30% of market authorizations granted by the United States FDA. So these are the major strengths of the Indian pharma industry. And one more thing is that Indian industries are emerged as the global players, and it is a fact to be mentioned here that the Indian players, about 9 of the Indian companies, have bagged their position among the top 25 global generic companies. So these are the key credentials of the Indian pharma industry. So the export journey of Indian pharma industry has started in late 90s and early 2000s with the kind support and the policy measures of the government of India. And if we see our export journey, so in financial year 2012, our exports were just 10 billion. And in the span of 8 years, our exports got doubled, and we have recorded 20.58 billion USD worth of exports in the financial year 2020. So the compound annual growth rate of our export journey in these last 8 years is approximately 9%. Out of these total exports, formulations and biologicals shares the major portion for about 72%, followed by bulk drugs for about 19%. Not only in the regular terms, even in the tough times of COVID-19 pandemic, the Indian pharma industry have extremely done good job, and the exports have fared well, and we have recorded 15% growth. And it is pharma sector is one of the sector which is recording the positive growth in Indian economical status. And it is a proud fact to mention here that more than about 55% of our exports are majorly going to the regulated markets like North America, Europe, and South Africa, and so on and so forth. And here are the top leading export destinations for Indian pharmaceuticals. And United States has been the leading major partner for Indian pharmaceuticals. And about 32% of our exports are going to United States. And almost every third pill in the US are being sourced from India. There are evidences that USA is saving a lot of their economies by using the generics being sourced from India. And among the top 10 export destinations, if we observe, except Nigeria, all the other countries are having the stringent regulated environment with the strong regulatory mechanisms in place and strong economical status. India could able to export to these strong economies only because of its competitive strengths in supplying the quality and efficacious medicines at very affordable prices. And Brazil is among the top list in India's exports and is the 6th largest exporting partner for our pharmaceuticals. And even the Latin America region is the emerging market for Indian pharma industry, and our members are expanding their presence in this region, especially by establishing their own facilities in many sectors and also making the joint ventures in the local with the local companies. And our exports to this region are growing exponentially, and especially in the first 6 months of this financial year during this COVID crisis, we have recorded almost 22% growth in our exports to LAC. And in this region, so Brazil is the major leading partner for our pharmaceuticals and is the number one in LAC. And if we observe the Brazil size market and the proposition of generic market, we could see almost 59% of the entire market is being captured by the innovative, costly medicines, and only 32% is being catered by the generic space. We appreciate the efforts of the government of Brazil in reducing the prices, especially in the last decade, and they could able to provide universal health coverage to most of the population, most of the nation, peoples of the nation. But still, there is a huge potential that we could observe that the government could focus more on the reducing the healthcare expenditure, especially in these tough times of COVID-19, where the economies are shrinking and the manufacturing industry is in a bitter stress because of the lockdown measures and all. So this is the time that the industry, both from the India and Brazil, could work hand in hand in strengthening the industry relationship and to provide the generic medicines at very affordable prices, so that the governments could limit their healthcare expenditure, especially on the medicines. And as the Executive Secretary has mentioned, India has strongly supported the Brazil's requirement when the HIV cases were soaring up in Brazil, and when the government has imposed compulsory licensing. So the Indian companies have supported by supplying these HIV medicines, antiretrovirals, to Brazilian nation, and the government of India has also able to. The government of Brazil could also able to save their economies for about 30 million in just 1 year because of the affordable and low-cost medicine supplied by the Indian pharmaceutical companies. And now the time again comes to reinforce these bonds between both the nations in this COVID pandemic. So it's not just the generics that both the countries can work together. Indirectly, our industries are working closely with the Brazilian companies, especially in the API space, in terms of a technology transfer, and also our industries are closely working with the government in this PDP program, and we seriously hope that in the near future, most of the Indian industry could work very close collaboration with the government in these public initiatives. And as already mentioned by his esteemed guests, that the vaccines is another area where Brazil and India is strongly working together, and there is a long way to go, especially in this vaccines front. I would like to take a few more minutes just to showcase the contribution of India in the global fight against pandemic. As we all know, the entire world is struggling hard to fight this nation, and at this time, Indian pharma industry is playing a dominant role in this global fight. Even when we talk about the medications or therapeutics, or even the diagnostics or the vaccines, in all these areas, our companies are playing a significant role. At the beginning of the pandemic, the government of India has supported almost 150 nations by supply of this hydroxychloroquine tablets. And even the president of Brazil has also recognized and greeted the Honorable Prime Minister of India for his generous supply of hydroxychloroquine to the nation. It's not just the hydroxychloroquine, but even the other repurposed medicines like remdesivir or the favipiravir or the tocilizumab. So when we take any of these repurposed medicines for COVID-19, Indian companies and India is in the forefront in supplying these needs to the global world. And now the entire world is looking for the vaccine so keen. And on the other side, I could say that the world is looking at India for the supplies of this COVID-19 vaccine. And there is no hidden fact that the government and the Honorable Prime Minister and the world leaders have already mentioned that it is India which can meet the vaccine needs of the global world. Our Indian industries are working in close collaboration with the international organizations as well as the academic institutions for the development and supply of these COVID-19 vaccines. You all might be aware that Serum Institute of India has already made a manufacturing deal for supply of 2 billion doses for the Oxford vaccine and Novavax vaccine. And also it has committed to supply 100 million doses for the COVAX facility of World Health Organization. And other Indian companies like Biologically is working with US-based subsidiary of Johnson & Johnson, and Dr. Reddy's Laboratories had a joint venture with Russia for Sputnik V manufacturing. Besides this, the Indian companies are closely working in the development of indigenous COVID vaccine, and Bharat Biotech is at the forefront in that race, and it is doing the phase 3 trial of Covaxin. And the Zydus Cadila is another Indian company which is closely working on the indigenous vaccine. So we seriously hope and we sincerely believe that in the coming few months, Indian companies will be getting the regulatory approvals for these molecules, and whether it be any vaccine that will be getting the regulatory approval. So Indian industries will be having a great role in manufacturing supply to meet the global needs. And it is very heartening to know that the Brazil is also keen to have a partnership with the Indian company, especially Bharat Biotech. And recently, Bharat Biotech offers the Brazilian health authorities and for the technology transfer of this vaccine in the Brazil. So it is the collaboration that drives the future of the both the nations, and I sincerely believe that Brazil and India can work together to drive this healthcare agenda, not just in generics but also in APIs and vaccines, and we all work together for the healthcare agenda of the universe, and especially to provide the universal access to health to the people of both the nations. Thank you so much.
Lakshmi, can you share the presentation, the PPT in Portuguese language and quickly flip it so that it will be easy for the Brazilian audience?
Sure. Hope everybody can see the Portuguese version of my presentation.
Lakshmi, we can able to see the Portuguese version of your presentation. So we can share this to the Brazilian delegates.
Sure, sir.
Yeah, that's better. We have the email IDs.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Lakshmi.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Lakshmi, for your very informative presentation. Now is the time to deliver the vote of thanks. On behalf of the organization, I'm very much glad to give away the vote of thanks in this auspicious occasion. I thank the distinguished panel of speakers and delegates for accepting our invitation and participating in today's event in spite of their busy schedule. I want to thank Embassy of India in Brazil, India-Brazil Chamber of Commerce as co-partners in organizing this event. A special thanks to Anvisa for their active participation. At the end, I want to thank all the journalists and participants who are watching this program. And without this, the program wouldn't have possible. Thank you. Now we are having the second session. The second session will be a technical presentation on the regulatory requirements and registration procedure by the Anvisa officials. I request Ms. Lakshmi Prasanna, Director Regulatory Affairs, to take over the charge. Over to you, Lakshmi.
Thank you, Dr. Gayatri. And I once again thank all the esteemed delegates for the inaugural ceremony, and a special thanks to His Excellency and also the officials from Anvisa for sparing their time and for delegating the officers of Anvisa to share their detailed thoughts on the regulatory requirements and the registration procedures and inspection formalities of different products in Brazil. We have with us Mr. Gustavo Santos, Head of Office of Medicines and Biological Products, Anvisa, and Mr. Rodrigo Martins Bretas and Mr. Renato Costa, the officials from Anvisa, for sharing us their thoughts and insights on the registration requirements of pharmaceuticals, especially the generics and APIs as per the request of Indian participants. Sorry for the inconvenience. Just please bear with me for a couple of minutes. Apologies for the intervention. We could see Mr. Rodrigo Martins and Mr. Renato Costa from Anvisa, and we would like to request the team from Anvisa for their presentation. Welcome, Mr. Rodrigo.
Hello, Ms. Lakshmi. Namaskar to everybody. So, is it okay? Can you listen to me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Right. So actually, Mr. Gustavo is the general manager for the licensing area comprising all medicines and APIs and also biological products. He's saying to me here that he's having some hard time to unmute his sound, his voice. So he's gonna try to come in again, to join again the event. And then myself, I represent Anvisa's GMP inspection area, specifically the APIs and the biological products, such as vaccines. We're the ones reviewing the documentation for all manufacturers of COVID vaccines, for example. And Mr. Renato Costa, who has also joined us, he represents the GMP inspection area, specifically concerning finished products. So final medicines, final drugs, synthetic ones, right? So right now we must wait for Mr. Gustavo to try to join us and unmute his voice so he can have his presentation.
Mr. Rodrigo, it seems Mr. Gustavo has left the meeting.
Yes, he would try to leave and then, I guess he's got it.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hello, Mr. Gustavo. Pleased to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
We are so glad that we had a very long interactive session with you during our last year's International Regulators Meet, wherein you have enlightened all our industry participants on the international cooperation and convergence in the affordable and efficacious medicines to the world. We welcome you again for this session, and we are eager to listen to your thoughts on the registration requirements of Brazil.
Okay, so my presentation will be focused on our perspectives and our actions regarding medicines and biological products here in Brazil. I'm not sure if you are already able to see my screen.
Yes. Can you please run your presentation?
Yeah, just a moment. So, Just a moment, please. Okay, sorry about that. So my idea is to present to you some of the Brazilian regulatory framework for medicines. And my agenda is to start with a background, the structure we have here in Brazil, and also the perspectives we see, especially after the pandemic situation here in Brazil. What is the real situation we are facing right now? So regarding the background, so it is important to clarify that before 99, we had no regulatory agency here in Brazil. And the medicines that used to be registered in our country, it was registered by similarity, which means that if you had the same active ingredient and the same dose of a reference drug, you were allowed to have a registration here in Brazil without any kind of study, any kind of comparability study, or any kind of other studies. Only quality control, stability, and label were evaluated, but even though really in a superficial view, and no in vivo study was required. With the law 9787 of February 99 that established the generic drugs here in Brazil, we had this situation then where we have three categories of products. One is the innovative medicine, which is a new active ingredient here in the country that has shown safety and quality by full clinical trials. This means the full clinical development since the non-clinical studies through all the phases of studies, and then coming to the proven efficacy and safety. Then we had the similar medicines, which is the same approach of the generic medicines, which have to show interchangeability by pharmaceutical equivalence and by equivalence. But the difference here in Brazil, we have the generic medicine and the similar medicine, which are brand. Generic brand is known by the name of the active ingredient, and the similar medicine is sold by the brand. So this is the reality we have since 99. The structure we have here, this is just our organogram of the agency. We have different departments. My department is in charge of what we call pre-market activities, which include licensing and marketing authorization of medicines which include synthetic, semi-synthetic, and also biological medicines here in Brazil, and also biological medicines from which different approach we call specific medicines, which is simple medicines, or can be just a notification medicines. And in these cases, all they have to be authorized by our department. And one important thing also is that in our department we give the possibility of in case of clinical trials be conducted here with the Brazilian population, it is necessary for us, for Anvisa, to get to allow sponsor and the CROs to conduct the clinical studies here in Brazil. So the key evaluation of the pre-market the pre-market assessment here in Brazil is based on two main aspects: the pharmaceutical technology and the efficacy and safety aspects. Regarding the pharmaceutical technology, we have a specific department which will evaluate the main aspects of the quality and the pharmaceutical development, and also in case of biological products, biotechnology of the medicine. In the case of efficacy and safety, our main concern is what is the studies that will support the claims for usage of the product. So this means we want to review all the studies, all the clinical trial studies, or in case of generic and similar products, we want to evaluate the bioequivalence studies and pharmaceutical equivalence studies. For biological products here in Brazil, we have two different approaches. We have the full development approach, and we have the comparability approach. We call it biosimilar. So in Brazil, we have these two ways for registration of biological products. In each case, the package for safety and efficacy is based in which studies will support the claims. In the case of full development, we expect the full clinical trials, since non-clinical trials, to show the medicines are safe and has efficacy. In case of comparability, our expectation is to have the studies that show us there is a bridge studies, there are bridge evidence that show us that it is possible to confirm efficacy and safety. So this is pretty much what we expect regarding pharmaceutical technology and the biotechnology. We want to see production aspects, formulation, quality control, and labeling. Regarding efficacy and safety, toxicity, clinical studies, and also label, but focusing on what we expect regarding the claims, the target population, posology, and all of these things. So other aspects that are part of our actions regarding the approval of medicines here in Brazil is related to pharmacovigilance and substance control. This is done by the general manager of monitoring of products subject to health surveillance. So this means that we expect also, whenever a product is available here in our population, that pharmacovigilance actions should be proposed by companies to give us confidence that this real world use of these medicines is correctly seen and monitored. And that's why we have to understand what is the proposal for risk minimization and also for pharmacovigilance actions. Also in this department, we have the substance control department, which will have a special concern regarding, if applicable, of course, but they have a special concern regarding how we will be able to control entrance and usage of substances, especially if there is any kind of problem with consumption, right? Like addiction or mental disorder or any kind of safety aspect regarding the usage of the substance. So pharmacovigilance, as I mentioned, is this identification, assessment, understanding, and prevention of adverse events or effects of any problem related to drug use, and the substance control any substance acting on central nervous system or causing physical or mental dependence should be looked especially by the agency. And also here, my colleagues from the General Office of Inspections, they can provide you more details, but one of the main aspects of a marketing authorization here in Brazil is the GMP, the good manufacturing practices, to be proven to us. We want to understand how this facility that will provide the production in mass of this, the mass production of this medicine has or present to us technical and operational conditions to do so. So that's why this GMP is mandatory for any marketing authorization here in our country. So we want to see, during this, we want to see the quality assurance system, validation of production process, change control, recall of batches. This is just example of many aspects that will be included and checked and evaluated by the inspectors and the assessors here in Brazil to give us confidence that we'll have traceability and we have a good quality system well established in the company. So the deadlines we are dealing right now in Brazil, we have a law that is from December 2016, and this law says that we have 365 days after the formal submission in Brazil to give you a return on the claim, on the application of the market application. This so if it is an ordinary category, but if it's a priority, then we have 120 days. So priority categories are based on risk and are based on urgency of the product. So if it's destined to specific population like pediatric drugs, or if there is any kind of emergency, any kind of rare diseases also, we have a special procedure for those. Rare diseases, we have established a proper and a specific resolution that show us that give us that give you the possibility to have a 60-day timeline, which is a very fast track. 60 days after the formal submission to have a consideration by Anvisa. And if there is any queries, maximum of 40 days for company to answer us. Also, the prioritization of I mentioned, which is established by the law. Resolution 204 says to us that in any kind of prioritization, 120 days for registration, and if it's a post-approval change, we have a 60 days timeline in order to give us a position. To finish my presentation, I want just to give you some perspectives. So by the end of 2019, just before I was there with you in India, we were accepted as a member, a management committee member on ICH. This means a huge effort from our agency to give to go through the best regulatory practices in the world. So Anvisa is going a way of harmonization, in a way of regulatory convergence, and with this we have more commitment. We are committed to internalize guidances regarding safety, efficacy, and quality. And we started since after this approval and this acceptance in the management committee, but it was then it was reinforced with this new perspective on ICH. So this means we are open for discussion whenever there is an ICH approach for the regulatory submissions here in Brazil. And another, as I mentioned then, this way started in 2016 when we were accepted as a regulatory member. So we have participated so far in 27 expert working groups with the possibility of discussing and internalizing and sharing concerns specific from our country with more than 27 guidelines that were revised or created. And 2019, it came with the management committee acceptance. Another important way Anvisa is walking is going through the international convergence is regarding the GMP and in the PICS. So my colleagues may add something on this, but pharmaceutical inspection cooperation scheme is one of the main aspects of GMP international convergence we are acting right now, and it was really important. It was a really important change in our regulatory scenario here in Brazil. So to finish my presentation, before just to say thank you, I just want to highlight some of the perspectives here regarding the pandemic situation. We have organized our administrative pathways in order to give claims for COVID the proper prioritization, and also to be flexible to accept any kind of claim or authorization or application if there is a well-established risk-benefit presented to us. So any product with a specific indication for COVID, or any product with there is responsible, or there is used for management of the disease, or that may reduce the number of people using our health care system here in Brazil, we will take a special look based on a specific resolution we have issued for this, where we have a very short timeline, and we are open to discuss the terms to present data after the formal approval. So just to highlight that we are open for discussions here regarding COVID. Thank you very much.
For various products. So our industry friends are keen to understand the specific requirements of the registrations for the phytochemicals and nutraceuticals. So could we just request your team to highlight or to just briefly elaborate the basic requirements for the registrations of these phytopharmaceuticals by Anvisa?
Let me see if I understood the question. Is regarding API, right?
It's regarding the alternative medicines or nutraceuticals.
Okay, nutraceuticals. Okay, so I don't think there is someone here that is in charge of this, because this is another department. So we're just
no worries.
Here, people
so we
from
also would love to hear more on the API registration by Anvisa officials.
Okay, just a small comment on this. Then we have a new regulatory landscape and regarding API. You used to have registration of APIs, but now we have a different procedure, which is called CADIFA, which is like a certificate of approval of a API, which is, I would say, is pretty much what happens in Europe with EDQM, which means that the manufacturer can provide us the information and can ask us to provide this letter of acceptance of an API that can be used for different manufacturers here in Brazil. Regarding the inspection, I'm going to ask my colleagues here, Rodrigo and Renato, if you want to comment on the changes in the inspection procedure.
All right. So thanks, Gustavo. Ms. Laksimi, I don't know whether you would like us to have a brief general comment, or if we wait until session 2 for questions and answers, what would be the best approach?
Yeah, we would love to hear from you on the general procedure of inspections.
Perfect. Okay, no problem. So in general, whenever a company wants to sell any final medicines, any finished products, and including biological products, so all of these vaccines, such as COVID vaccines, they must require the licensing in Brazil. And one of the requisites, the prerequisites, is that the manufacturer be inspected by Anvisa, right? So nowadays, this is the general procedure we have. Whenever it's a company that we have never visited before, we must visit the company, right? And then when we're talking about a renewal of the GMP certificate, it all comes down to a risk assessment when we're going to assess all the information provided by the company, especially the PQR, the product quality review, the product annual review. And we're going to assess if there are any market complaints, any data from pharmacovigilance systems. We're going to review whether in the last inspection there were any non-compliance, any minor, major, or critical non-compliance points. And then we're going to perform a risk assessment to decide whether we go back to a company to inspect again before renewing the GMP certificate. But of course, most of the times, it's just a documental analysis, as most of the agencies do. And nowadays, we have also to inform that we're in the process of becoming a member of the PICS, of the Pharmaceutical Inspection Cooperation Scheme. We were audited by them last year, and then we had a very good result. Of course, there were some observations, and then we showed all improvements that was necessary. They would already have given us a letter of acceptance, but of course the pandemics also made it not easy for everybody. So we're still in the process of waiting for their acceptance. But the expectation is that once Brazil becomes a member of the PICS, things are going to be much easier. So we could, as part of PICS, and as happens with all the members, we could have the process of GMP certification would be much easier once we have a valid, a current, and a satisfactory inspection report written by any of the members of PICS. So right now we're not yet members. We're in the process, but of course that as the process is ongoing, nowadays we have a mechanism that if we have, although we're not yet members, but we have, because of the pandemics, we have a mechanism to accept any inspection reports written by a PICS member, right? So that specifically for vaccine, for COVID vaccine manufacturers, API or finished products, we have a new regulation. It's resolution number 346. It was issued this year because of the pandemics, and now we have the possibility of conducting remote inspections. This is something pretty new, right? I know that some companies, some countries already are used to this mechanism, but this is something pretty new. So we developed internal SOPs in the GMP inspection area. Now it is a possibility we have this written down, but in some cases still the decision is to go to visit on site the companies. Maybe our Indian colleagues are aware that exactly right now we have an inspection team composed by 5 members of Anvisa. They're in China, right? So we have 4 members of the GMP inspection area, and we have also a former GMP member that nowadays represents the biologicals licensing area. And it's a team of 5 people from Anvisa visiting China. Exactly right now, they are in the middle of 2 weeks because they're forced to go under quarantine procedures in China. So they're really, really locked in their hotel rooms and performing PCR tests every 3 days and temperature measurements every day. So they're being followed, and the idea is that in the week, I guess on December 7th, they're going to visit, if I'm not mistaken, they're first going to Sinovac, which is the partner of Instituto Butantan here in São Paulo, Brazil, right? They're manufacturing the Coronavac vaccine. In this case, they're going to manufacture, in this first moment, they're going to provide the finished product. So the idea is for them to be certified concerning API, biological API, and also finished product, the sterile injectable suspension. And then the other week, the team is going to visit Wuxi Biologics, which is the company that is going to supply the API for our manufacturer here in Brazil, Fiocruz Biomanguinhos. That's the partnership involving AstraZeneca and Oxford University, right? So, as this was a very sensible topic, the decision in this, and as we didn't have any information, any expectation to receive in any timely manner an inspection report issued by a PICS member. So the decision in our area was to really send 5 inspectors, right? So this is pretty much how things work. Our regulation used to be based on the WHO as state members that we are. Nowadays, our regulation for GMP inspection is basically the translation of the PICS guidelines, right? So they have the general GMP guidelines for medicines. We adopted basically the translation, and then the annexes that PICS has for individual types of products. They have Annex 1, which is the GMP specific for sterile products. We adopted also as a separate guideline. The PICS Annex for biological products, for qualification and validation. So all of these guidelines were internalized by Anvisa, and that's the basis. That has been the basis for our GMP inspections since the end of 2019, right? And specifically for APIs, we have, so maybe it's better to give you the numbers. It's resolution 301 from last year, which was the internalization of PICS general GMP guidelines. For the specificities of sterile products, sterile final drugs, our resolution is called IN, which stands for normative instruction, but it's kind of a guideline. So IN 35, which is PICS Annex 1 for sterile, and so on. When it comes to APIs, synthetic APIs, we also internalized ICH's guideline, which is a pretty clear and globally accepted API GMP regulation. And there is one thing more, because when it comes to biological products, So GMP inspections for biological products, they cover both the Resolution 69 in Brazil, which was issued in year 2014, which is the translation of ICH's guideline for APIs. And we also adopted what we call normative instruction IN 36 from last year, which was the internalization of PICS specific guidelines for biologicals. And then this PICS guidelines for biological refers both to biological APIs and biological finished products, right? So, for example, today, if we're going to visit one Indian company which produces biologicals, from the very beginning, from the API up to the finished dosage form, we're going to use Brazilian resolution RDC number 301 for the general GMP for medicines. We're going to use resolution RDC 69 from 2014 for APIs in general. We're going to use normative instruction IN 36 as the internalization of PICS guidelines for biological APIs and finished products. We're going to use normative instruction IN 35 from last year, which is the internalization of PICS guideline for sterile products, and then other applicable side regulations for qualifications, for sampling, all of them adopted from PICS. So that's our regulatory standpoint. I guess, I hope I have was clear. Now you're muted.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Rodrigo, for elaborated perspective of ANVISA on the GMP requirements and the regulatory norms. And we congratulate ANVISA for becoming a PICS member, on the way to become a PICS member and a management committee member of ICH. And we sincerely hope that very soon Indian companies would be getting more approvals from GMP team of your team because of this PICS membership and all. Now we'll be moving on to the Q&A session, and the participants are requested to pose their questions in Q&A tab. There are a few questions in the Q&A, so with your permission, I'd like to take some of the questions from the Q&A. Oh, Mr. Rodrigo, the question is to you on these inspections, especially the API facility audits. So, I mean, if the N-1 of API is being sourced from other company, so how the ANVISA is going to audit, whether it is confining the audit to the end manufacturer or also to the intermediate manufacturers?
That's, I guess you're reading that from the chat session, is that it?
I have picked it randomly. Perhaps it would be difficult for you to get it in the chat box. There are many messages in that. So my question is, the inspection of API manufacturer, will you be confining only to the end product manufacturers, or are you going to audit the facilities of intermediates as well?
Yes. So basically also intermediates, because the GMP guideline that we adopted for APIs, which we call resolution RDC 69 from 2014, it was basically the internalization of ICH guideline. And then when you go to the final of the document, they have a table stating where the GMP compliance should really start, should really be covered officially, right, in terms of GMP certification. So the concept is that they have the concept of starting material, intermediates, and finished API, right? So our inspections cover from the introduction of the starting material, going through the intermediates up to the API. So if a company, this is very common, and we have many, most of our certified companies are in India or in China for APIs. And so we basically live in India. Whenever there is no pandemics, we're always in India. And that's what happens. Many times a company provides the starting material and has one or two initial steps, then sends this intermediate for another company so that this company may crystallize, may micronize, may purify a bit, and then to a third company which is going to sterilize or provide the final API. So all companies from the introduction of the starting material through the intermediates and getting up to the final API, they are subject to inspection by Anvisa.
Thank you. Thanks for that detailed information. And moving on to another question. As the entire world is moving towards the accelerated approvals, so will the Anvisa is going to fast track their approval timelines below the 365 days in the future?
For the licensing of products?
Right.
I guess that's for licensing.
Yeah. Mr. Gustavo, would you like to take this question?
Let's wait a bit until he can.
All right.
Hello?
Oh, yes, sir.
Renato.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can I?
Yes,
you guys
hear
are listening?
Yes.
We can hear you, Mr. Renato.
Okay. If I understood the question about 365 days, you asked for the GMP certification is correct?
This is for the approval timeline.
I guess
yes.
that's...
We have the same timeline for the certification since the day 0. Okay. We since September 2021, okay, we have a resolution, and when the companies submit the protocol for the GMP certificate, we have 365 days to have the final conclusion of that. Is the same.
Okay.
But is there any possibility of reducing that timeline? Because usually what happens is that 365 days is the timeline to respond. And then after we get the response, we reply the queries, and it further adds on to the final approval timeline.
I don't. I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't listen.
Sorry, I mean the current, as we understood, the current timelines is 365 days. But in these times of pandemic, we just want to understand whether Anvisa is planning to reduce the timelines to fast track the registration procedures and to keep the medicines available to the public.
I guess the question is related to the licensing, to the registration.
The registration, yeah.
Not to the
marketing authorization.
No.
I'm
sorry,
trying.
What
Gustavo?
Yeah.
What was the question? Sorry about that.
Yeah. Mr. Gustavo, we just want to understand how Anvisa is moving forward in fast-tracking the registration procedures in these times of pandemic. Are there any plans to reduce the timelines for the registration?
Yeah, we have a specific resolution is 415/2020. This resolution says that if a product has a specific indication for COVID, or if it's intended to be used for the management of the disease, or there is any relation regarding to dealing with the pandemic situation, we will be able to fast track this with a 60-day maximum time for manifestation, and we will be open to discuss any risk-benefit analysis for presenting any data after the registration. Regarding post-approval, we also have included on this resolution, so we may be able to change any manufacturing aspect or any post-approve that is established in our resolution 73 of 2016, and then we will give in a 30 days period, we will give a feedback on the application. So I understand that this was the way we have dealing with the pandemic, which seems to be working, because we didn't face any kind of lacking of product or any kind of situation here. We haven't approved any product for COVID indication specifically yet, but a lot of trials are going on right now, and we expect to have any results briefly. Yeah, you are on mute. Nice.
Miss Lakshmi.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Gustavo, for the detailed explanation, and we hope that the Indian companies who have the international accreditations and capable of manufacturing these repurposed medicines will be getting fast-track approvals with the recent resolutions that the ANVISA has taken. And I'd like to take a couple of questions in the interest of time. There is one question.
Ms. Lakshmi, if possible, maybe we could address questions to Mr. Gustavo regarding licensing, because he's also moving to another meeting. Maybe we could prioritize, and then I follow with the GMP.
That's fine now. Perhaps this question is to Mr. Gustavo, I believe. For the registration of dermatological products, if the facility is having USFDA certification, then also the ANVISA requires the bioequivalent studies against the innovator product?
For topical products, right?
Right.
So for topical products, our requirement right now is pharmaceutical equivalence, not bioequivalence. So no in vivo study would be required. But we are on with a public consultation right now that discuss these permeation studies and all other studies that may use cell lines, cells or skin. But right now what we expect is pharmaceutical equivalence only.
Okay, thank you so much. And there is another question. Is that if the RLD is available at Brazil, and if the Indian company wanted to manufacture and supply the other salt form of that product, can they do the equivalent studies with the reference RLD sourced from Brazil with the active moiety? For instance, sitagliptin is sourced from the Brazil, and the Indian company wanted to manufacture and supply sitagliptin phosphate. What is the procedure that they need to adopt?
Okay, so I understood it's a new pharmaceutical form of a product already existing product, right?
Yeah, other salt form of the API.
Other what?
Other salt form.
Other salt.
Other salt.
Other salt form. Okay, all right. So in this case, if it's a different salt, right now we have a specific category, registration category, which is diverse innovation. So what is our requirement is that companies should present us the clinical rationale in order for us to understand which are the studies will be needed for this kind of safety and efficacy confirmation. Because what happens that depending on the difference, if there is a pharmacokinetics difference or other difference, toxicology differences, this may indicate what are the studies needed. So we have this diverse innovation just to be very open on what the data will present us and what is the best approach. So the recommendation is send us a protocol with the rationale for us to discuss and give the proper orientation.
Okay. Thank you, sir. And there are there is a question regarding the inspection, and I couldn't see any questions related to regulatory registration process. And
Thank you, Lexi.
thank you so much, for Mr. Gustavo, for your presence and sparing your time in spite of your busy schedule. And we wish to see you again back in India very soon in one of our future programs. And we seriously believe and we are optimistic that the PICS membership of ANVISA is going to be helpful for Indian industry in getting their faster approvals for their products and cut short their GMP inspections, especially from the inspectors of ANVISA. Thank you so much for your time.
I'll be honored to join you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. And the question regarding this audit again. So for herbal regulatory requirement, like registration of herbal products, is the audit is mandatory or not?
For herbal products,
right.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Renato can give us any hint.
Herbal products, I think is the GMP is also necessary to receive the registration by the Department of the Registration Market License also.
Okay, all right. So the GMP is mandatory even for the herbal products registration. That's what we could understand from the speakers.
Yes.
I guess we were concluded with most of the questions, and we have crossed the time limits also. And we extend our sincere thanks to the entire team of ANVISA, especially the President ANVISA for his valuable address to our Indian delegates and also to the delegates from Brazil. And a special thanks to Mr. Gustavo and Mr. Rodrigo and Mr. Renato for sharing your thoughts and your prospects and your insights on the future collaboration between India and Brazil in the pharmaceutical space. Thanks again for your valuable time and for sparing your presence with us. Thank you.
Thank you. It was an honor. Good work. Good job.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Have a good day too.
Good day.
Now we will be moving on to the next session of the business networking event. And I mean, we wanted to extend our sincere apologies from the organizers' side for last-minute changes in the platform and for changing the modality of this business networking session. And I hope the audience could able to understand the situation, and we'll try our best to make this program more engaging, and Pharmexcel will be more happy to support to the participants both from the Brazil and India in engaging between the players in the future. Now we'll be having the business networking session wherein we'll be calling the companies from Brazil and India to brief about their company, their product profile, and their areas of interest for collaboration with the other side. Okay. May I request Mr. Gaurav Datai from Cipla? Oh. Mr. Gaurav Datai from Cipla, could you please unmute yourself and brief about your company profile? Sorry, I could not able to identify Mr. Gaurav. No, may I request Mr. Gyanesh Kumar from Zydus Cadila? Mr. Gyanesh, request you to brief about your company for 3 minutes.
Okay, so I'm Gyanesh Kumar. I'm CFO of Zydus Cadila in Brazil. As you all must be knowing, Zydus is one of the top leading pharmaceutical company in India in top 5. and we are exporting goods all around the world. USA is one of the important destination. After that, Brazil is also one of the important destination for us. We have been manufacturing goods here since a long time. For last 50 years, we have presence here through Nico. Zydus acquired Nico in 2005, and after that, we are selling Zydus product and Nico products both here in Brazil. We have manufacturing facility in Rio, and we have a good presence in different segments of pharmaceutical products. Recently, as you already mentioned, Lakshmi, that we are also working on development of Zydus COVID vaccine. So that is also one of the important aspect on which we are looking, and we are expecting that we get fast track approval of Zydus COVID vaccine also in Brazil. So while our panel discussion was going on, I had raised this question. So at some point of time, we will be very much interested to promote the Zydus COVID vaccine also in Brazil. As far as our future plans are concerned, we are very optimistic about our presence and growth in Brazil. We have a strong pipeline of products, especially in next 2-3 years. We have huge pipeline of products, and we are looking forward to work with Anvisa in close coordination and expand our business in onco, in psychiatric and other pharmaceutical verticals. So this forum is very important for us to learn more about the Brazilian business, which is very one of the lucrative business and one of the biggest market in Latin America. So in this forum, we are looking forward to expand our networking with pharmaceutical companies or the players who are active in Brazil, and let us see how fast and good we can be a good collaborator between Brazil and Indian pharmaceutical companies, and have a good success story in Brazil.
Thank you, Mr. Ganesh. Now I would like to request Mr. Valber Protuso from Frio Cruz. Seems he is not here. I'll be calling Mr. Marcus Dinelli from Biotech. Mr. Marcus from Biotech. All right, we'll be moving on to the next speaker, Emerson Lima. Mr. Emerson, are you there? All right, then we'll be moving on to Mr. Wilson Franco. Mr. Wilson Franco, can you please unmute yourself and brief about your company?
I'm here.
Yes, please.
I had the pleasure of attending 5 IFEXs in India. I had the pleasure of in several pharma hub centers. I had also the pleasure of visiting the CIPLA production center in Goa. Also, Zydus in Ahmedabad and other companies. My focus is APIs, and I teach API regulations and contaminants in a postgraduate level in the school in São Paulo, and I do indent business for pharmaceutical and distribution companies in Brazil. I am very glad and thankful for Leonardo Amanda from the India Brazil Chamber, and also Dr. Arjun to give the opportunity to participate again in this virtual meeting in pandemic. I believe also that it is a new way of doing this event, and in some way it is somehow better because we had the participation of very competent people from Anvisa interacting with ourselves in a way that if it is physically, it wouldn't be possible. Thank you, and I'll be participating again tomorrow with pleasure. Lakshmi? I'm here.
Yes, sir.
Yes. That is what basically I have to say, and but I'm here to, and I'll be there. I have sent a list of companies that I would like to interact in the API area in India, and I'll be glad to join again tomorrow.
Thank you so much for your interest, sir, and we will be glad to arrange meetings with those specific companies in the tomorrow's session.
Okay.
Moving on to the next person from Brazil side, Mr. Myron Pires.
I request Myron Pires to please introduce yourself. Mr. Myron Pires, sir, you can please unmute. He's there, but I think he's not able to unmute his mic. Sorry. So now we are going to move to the next speaker, Nadja Bento. I request Mr. Nadja Bento to please introduce yourself and regarding your company.
Actually, Prasanna, I'm sorry. Can I introduce myself? My name is Marcus from Biotech.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. You please present, sir.
Okay, my name is Marcos Ginelli from Biotech Logistics in Brazil. We are a trading company established in Brazil. We have another company in United States, Portugal, and we have a very close relationship with India. We bring so many products from India to some companies in Brazil. We can provide solutions in logistics, and could be a hub in Brazil and provide a solution for Brazilian companies to bring the products, register the products, and could be the hub for Latin America. We have a special program with Belo Horizonte Airport. That's the first industrial airport in Brazil. that we can bring products to Brazil and import and export without any taxes. And it's a very competitive way to explore Latin American markets. So I'm available for any consult, and we are glad to participate. Thank you very much, Yakshmi and Leonardo Ananda, that invite us for this very special event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Marcus. Now I request Emerson Lima, the next speaker, to please unmute your mic and introduce regarding your company. Mr. Emerson Lima, please. Mr. Emerson Lima, can you please unmute your mic? Sorry, we will be moving to the next speaker, Gilvam Silva. My request, Gilvam Silva, unmute your mic and introduce your company. Sorry, I want to introduce next speaker, Wilson Franco. I request Mr. Wilson Franco to please speak.
I have already talked a little about my company, what I do. I can talk again. I share a link for the Anvisa API registration regulations in the chat. So if anyone has questions on Anvisa regulations, please refer to this. Go to this site, and almost everything is there. Okay. So I already introduced myself. I'm focused on APIs, and I'll be attending the session tomorrow with several companies that I listed, and anyone that would like to get an introduction on APIs in Brazil. I thank you very much. And again, to Leonardo, Amanda, Dr. Arjun, and everybody from the embassy for the opportunity to be here and interact again with the Indian pharmaceutical sector. Thank you. Lakshmi.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, may I request Gilvan Silva, please introduce yourself and regarding your company. Sorry, sir. Now we will move to the next speaker. I request Joydeep Bhatterjee to please unmute yourself and introduce regarding your company. Now, may I request Ujjwal Desai-ji. I request Ujjwal Desai-ji to please unmute and introduce your company. Now I request Chakravarti ji to introduce yourself and regarding your company. Chakravarti sir.
Good morning and good afternoon to both Brazilian and Indian participants. My name is Chakravarti, AVPS. I have two portfolios. I am a global ambassador of World Packaging Organization. In fact, a couple of years ago, I was in Sao Paulo attending a board meeting rather in Rio de Janeiro. And we have a great partner over there.
Associação Brasileira de Embalagem.
That's Brazilian Packaging Association, very much popular in Brazil. They are our partner. And all of you are aware how much critical it is, the packaging and labeling in the pharmaceutical products. So in both the countries, we can assist on that respect, in both in Brazil with our partners and also in India. As far as my company is concerned, my company is EcoBliss India. I'm the managing director and CEO of the company. It's a Dutch collaboration company. And we are very familiar in the international market, especially in the regulatory markets for our specialty packagings, for the dose packs, regulatory packs, compliance packs, even FDA required child resistance packs. We offer from concept to finish solutions, the design, development, and the manufacturing, production, and also the machine support in both the countries. Well, we also do contract packing. If you want to import from India, a specific regulatory required medicines in a special packaging, we can either assist your import companies in their facilities, or we can offer contract packing facilities also. For more details, you can email to me. I can arrange a detailed presentation. Thank you very much, Pharmaxil, for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chakravarti ji. Now I request Mr. Atul Sharma, unmute your mic and introduce your company. Mr. Atul Sharma.
Yes, hi. Good evening to everyone in India and good afternoon to Brazilians. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Okay, myself, Atul Sharma. I am representing Nectar Life Sciences from India, who are the biggest manufacturer for cephalosporins. Nectar Life Sciences is one of the biggest manufacturer for cephalosporins in the world, and we have APIs as well as finished formulations both. Nectar has total 7 manufacturing facilities in the northern part of India, and our facilities are approved by EU GMP, WHO GMP, and also approved by Anvisa from Brazil. Currently, we are supplying APIs as well as finished formulations to almost every country in Latin America. But we are still open for new business partners in Brazil as well as in Mexico also. We have currently like one partner in Brazil, but we are open for formulations and looking for new partners in Brazil, especially for formulations. We have entire range of orals like tablets, capsule, and suspensions, and all injectables in cephalosporins. And Nectar Life Sciences is especially a company for specific cephalosporins only. We do not manufacture any other product in any of the units in Nectar Life Sciences. So we are the best partner for anyone who is looking for cephalosporin manufacturing in India or looking for APIs of cephalosporins from India. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Atul Sharma. Now I request Nedja Bantu to please unmute yourself and introduce your company. Mr. Nedja Bantu, please. Sorry. Now I request Ujjwal Desai ji.
Of Stylion Labs in Ahmedabad. We have just put forward our plant. Hope you can hear me. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Everybody is able to hear me?
Yes, sir. We are able to hear, sir.
Yeah. I am Ujjwal Desai. I am Vice President and looking after the operations of Stylion Labs. We have just introduced a new plant and which is as per the EU certifications and compliance to EU. And we look towards the partners from Brazil who can do tech transfers to our plant. And we also wish to go for inspections from Brazil. So we are ready for that and we look forward for that support from Brazilians. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. May I request Mr. Pyrus? Now I request Mr. Myron Pyrus Chief. Unmute your mic and introduce your company. Mr. Myron Pyrus. Sorry, I think he's unable to unmute his mic. Now I request Sudhir Nagarji to unmute the mic and introduce yourself and regarding your company.
చెప్పాలి కదా వాళ్ళకి మిమ్మల్ని మారుస్తామని అలా మార్చేయటం కాదు కదా.
Mr. Sudhir Nagar.
Yes, I'm connected side. Claudia.
I think he's unable to unmute his mic. Now I request Aditi
Federer.
Hello.
Shekhar.
Hello.
Yes, Aditi.
Can you hear me?
You can speak. Yes, we can hear you, Aditi.
Yes. Hi, everyone there. I'm Aditi Shekhar. I'm representing Western Drugs Limited. We are not into finished formulations. We are into APIs. We are manufacturer of vitamin B3, that is niacin and niacinamide. And for almost more than 20 years, we are exporting our product in Brazil. And in fact, I was looking for interactive session which was explained earlier to find out if there are more buyers for us in Brazil, especially from pharma industry. But I think it's doubtful now to go one-to-one. So this is just an introduction. If you are looking for vitamin B3, that is niacin and niacinamide, please go through our website, westerndrugs.com. I will just put it into chat window also. And just to tell you, we do have WHO GMP and our facility is even inspected by FDA, and there were no non-conformities presented by US FDA. And we do have for food companies, we do have a BRC food certifications, and if there is any money for animal feed sector, we do have FAMIQ certification as well. So I look forward for Brazilian companies who is having interest in vitamin B3. Please contact us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, may I request Anna Carolina to please deliver your talk. Anna Carolina ji, you can please unmute your mic. Sorry, I think she is not able to speak now. We will come back to her later. Now I request Claudia.
Good evening to everyone and good morning to the people on this side of the country. I represent MSN Labs from India. We're a company who has their sites on Hyderabad. Currently, we hold several certifications in the manufacturing sites, not only for API, but also for finished formulation. We hold GMPs from the European Union, US FDA. We already have some ANVISA's approval for some of our manufacturing sites, and we're looking forward to find new partners in Brazil, especially the unit that I'm representing, the finished formulation. So I'm open to hear new ideas and new business that we can enhance the relationship between Brazil and India. I would like to first also thank Pharmaceutical and the members of the embassy that help us set up all these meetings. I will be very happy to tomorrow maybe arrange several meetings with the companies interested to work with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia ji. Now I request Federico Servideo. Please deliver your talk. I request Federico Servideo to please unmute your mic and deliver your talk. I'm going to the next speaker. May I request Leonardo Ananda to please unmute the mic and introduce your company. I request Leonardo to unmute the mic and introduce your company.
Hello, Lakshmi. Namaste to all. Could you hear me, Lakshmi?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please go ahead, sir.
Great, yeah. Great, thank you. My name is Leonardo Ananda. I'm in charge of India-Brazil Chamber of Commerce. At the India-Brazil Chamber of Commerce, we have more than 30 pharma companies as associates, as members of our chamber. We have a very good partnership with Pharmaceutical. So in the last 7 IFACs, we were there with a big Brazilian delegation, and I'm here with my team, with IBCC team, ready to assist all the Indian companies and all the Brazilian companies to foment this relationship between India and Brazil. And I would like to congratulate Pharmaceutical and the Embassy of India here in Brazil to organize this such amazing event. We had very good presentations in the beginning of the event from the embassies and from Anvisa as well. So congratulations for this amazing event. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I request Mr. Gilvam Silva to unmute the mic and introduce your company.
Hello, my name is Luis Antony da Silva. I came from Brazil. My company name is FBM Pharma. We're trying to find someone in China, in India, to get business with us. We have a pharmaceutical company with innovation development, and we are open to build business with India companies. We have facilities, we have ANVISA authorizations to production. Also, we are trying to find at this moment injectables. We need to think more easy to entrance in Brazil. Injectable is more easy due to the regulatory things. If you want to get contact with me, you have in my profile in this webinar. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Luis da Silva. Now may I request Leticia Jomas Oliveira to unmute the mic and introduce your company.
Thank you so much.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Leticia Jomas Oliveira to deliver the talk.
Hi, good morning. I'm the coordinator of the India Brazil Chamber of Commerce. I work with Mr. Leonardo. Firstly, congratulations on the organization of the event. We are here. I think we have some members of the chamber here that are looking for APIs mostly. I hope they can introduce themselves. And we, as an organization that aims to promote the India-Brazil relationship, we are here to help Indian companies and Brazilian companies. So if anyone would like to get in touch with us to get information on the markets and on potential clients, partners, I will put my contacts here so we can move forward on this kind of partnership. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Leticia. Now may I request Fernanda Guimarães to introduce herself and her company. Madam, we are unable to listen to you. No, ma'am, it's not audible. No, ma'am, it's not audible. Can you please check from your side? No, ma'am, it's not audible. Ma'am, we will come back to you again. You please check from your side. It's not audible. Sorry. We will come back to you soon, ma'am. Please check from your side. Now, may I request Maulik Sudani to unmute your mic and introduce your company.
Hello all. I am Maulik Sudani, Director of Farbe Pharma. So we have a sterile liquid injectable unit in a small volume parenteral in India, and our unit is Peru approved, Peru, Philippines, Ethiopia, and now we are preparing for EU GMP. So soon will be PICS approved, and we are very much open for partnerships in Brazil, even because we have some few niche molecules and control substance products. Thank you. Look forward to see you tomorrow again. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, once again, I'm coming back to Ms. Fernanda Guimarães. Can you please unmute your mic? Ms. Fernanda Guimarães, can you please unmute your mic? I think we are not able to connect to her. Now may I request Myron Pires to unmute the mic and introduce her company. I request Myron Pires to unmute the mic and introduce the company. Now may I request Faber Miranda to unmute the mic and introduce the company. Debar Miranda ji. Now may I request Dr. Anupam Gupta to unmute the mic.
Hello.
Dr. Anupam Gupta, you can please
Yes.
introduce yourself and your company.
Yeah, ma'am. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Anupam Gupta, Chairman Anupam Life Sciences. Our company is a research house, and we in-license the product for the marketing. We develop the product for the disease-oriented problem-solving materials. Like we never work in the old formulation, and we never upgrade the old formulation. So presently we have one medicine. We are coming all over the world. It is a niche product. We are going to do the patent all over the world. It is a global market, non-competitive, $7.8 billion. And we are coming in each and every country with a patent, and we are looking for the marketing partner. It is for osteoarthritis, which is a local applicant, dermal, you can say, tropical painkiller, which works 8 hours, even the 12 hours. The patient of the osteoarthritis, which is geriatric disease, they don't need to take the oral medicine. Hello. So we need a marketing partner in the LATAM and the Brazil if somebody is interested for research product, because this is not a general product. So if anybody, any company interested for the research product, we can talk to them. Anupam Life Sciences is our website. You can get all type of the detail over there. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anupam Gupta. Now may I
Welcome, ma'am.
request Karthik Kiran Parekh. Now may I request Karthik Kiran Parekh to unmute yourself and introduce your company.
Hello everyone. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Basically, I'm from Intermeios. It is a Brazilian company which is mainly into distribution of APIs. And we are now extending our expertise in lines of formulations as well. We would like to welcome several Indian companies to participate in the Brazilian market, and we would be able to help in registration of the API manufacturers with the labs. And also we are right now aiming to bring new formulation companies in Brazil for Brazil market. We are also based in Mexico. We have our office in Mexico as well. So we would be extending the same partnership in Mexico as well. We have our representations in Latin American countries as well, where we could work as an indent basis. So this is a brief introduction about our company. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Karthik Kiran Parekh ji. May I request Mr. Sudhir Nagar to introduce yourself and your company.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, Sudhir ji, you are audible.
Okay.
Please go
Yeah.
ahead,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. My name is Sudhir Nagar, and I'm a director with Sri Krishna Pharma. Sri Krishna Pharma is among the oldest pharma companies in India. We have been around 40 years plus. We have 5 manufacturing facilities, and we have a business span which moves from intermediates right up to finished dosage form. 3 facilities which makes APIs, one where we are doing only the granulation and finished dosage forms, and an intermediate facility. Regulatory approvals across from all the regulated bodies, and we are currently having a pan-global presence. We do have some businesses in Brazil. We are among the global leaders for paracetamol and folic acid, among many other products that we manufacture. We also have now forayed into fermentation and moving into let's say, the biologics as well. There is a certain footprint that we have in the Brazilian market, and we would look at expanding that reach as well in collaboration with actual users there. Lakshmi.
Thank you, Mr. Sudhir Nagarji. Now, may I request Mr. Kleber Miranda to unmute the mic and introduce your company.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Okay. My name is Kleber Miranda. I am CEO of Malcolm. We have 11 years old company. I am doing business with Indian companies since 2004. I was the head of Glen Market to APIs in South America, the head of APIs and finished those formulation to Glen Market in Latin America and Caribbean countries. And in Malcolm, we are doing business supporting companies from India to Brazil and Latin America. It will be a pleasure to be talking with you guys, exploring the opportunities and doing business together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kleber. And we have an announcement. We have an important announcement for the tomorrow's program. And we sincerely apologize for the issues being faced by the members for the today's business networking. The issues of the initial planned floor platform got resolved. And tomorrow we can successfully do the one-to-one meetings between the Brazil companies and Indian companies. We sincerely hope the participants could show their interest to join back again tomorrow on the floor platform and can have one-to-one meetings with the Indian companies. We will be sharing the unique links for every participant from Brazil side, and they can enter the booth of Indian company and can have the business meetings with them. Thank you so much for your patience, and we will be moving on again to the introduction sessions by the companies.
Now, may I request Rayon Wood, please unmute your mic and introduce your company. Mr. Rayon Wood. I request Rayon Wood to unmute the mic and introduce your company.
Hi everyone, this is Ryan here from Meridian Enterprises. We are a 25-year-old company and we are expertise in manufacturing suppositories, external liquids and tablets. We are mostly known for our suppository dosage forms. We are one of the oldest manufacturers of this dosage form in India. So anybody has any requirement for this unique dosage form of suppositories, we will be appreciate if you can get in touch with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rayon. Now, may I request Amit Prajapati to unmute the mic and introduce your company. I request Amit Prajapati to unmute the mic and introduce your company.
Hello, this is Amit Prajapati. I'm representing Caritas Healthcare. Caritas Healthcare has an excellent presence at Latin America. We have our own subsidiaries based at Ecuador, Chile, Mexico, and Peru. So we are looking forward for the manufacturers who are looking for the partner. Thank you so much to the Pharma Excel. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Amit. Now, may I request Fernando Silva to unmute the mic and introduce your company. Mr. Fernando Silva, please. May I request Fernando Silva to unmute the mic and introduce your company. I think we are not able to connect to them. Now I request Federico Servideo to please introduce your company. I request Federico Servideo to unmute the mic and introduce your company. Now we will be moving to next speaker. May I request Mr. Leticia from India Brazil Chamber of Commerce to please identify the speakers from Brazil and call them on to the stage. Ms. Leticia from INBC, can you please help us in identifying the business delegate from Brazil?
Yes, have you tried Mr. Mauricio? I'm seeing that some companies, they are not being able to unmute their mic. Perhaps it would be nice if you could turn them into panelists. Otherwise, I'm not sure if they are being able to speak.
Can you please send their names in the chat box? We'll try to identify them and turn them as a panelist. Ma'am, we request you once again to please mention the name in the chat box so that we can convert them into panelists and they can introduce themselves. So in the meantime, we will move on to the next speaker. May I request Maristela Ines Silva to unmute the mic and introduce your company.
Good morning. Are you listening? Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead.
Yes. My name is Maristela. I am the Regulatory Affairs Manager from Toronto, Brazil. We are an Indian company here in Brazil since 2002. In India, we are the 8th largest company, and we work here with the brand generic and generic segment of medicines. And here in Brazil, we are looking forward to expanding our presence here in Brazil with more medicines in new segments. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, ma'am. May I request Moliko Mendonica? May I request Moliko Mendonica to introduce yourself and your company? Now we will move to next speaker. May I request Anuj Rai to unmute the mic and introduce your company?
Hello everyone, my name is Anuj Kumar Rai. I'm from Equilife Healthcare, taking care of Latin American business. We are manufacturers of injectable, sterile, large volume and small volumes. We are also approved by Anvisa and have registered 5 products already in Anvisa. And there are certain products which we are going to register in coming months. We are manufacturers of propofol and ketamine anesthesia products. And we are looking for certain partnership distributors and importers who are interested to work with us to better the business markets in Brazil. So that's what we are looking for. And we hope that we will find some good partners in this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Anuj Rai. Now may I request CP Shastri to unmute the mic and introduce your company? May I request CP Shastri to please unmute your mic and introduce your company? May I request Vijay Bhavaskar ji to unmute your mic and introduce your company?
Hey, hi everybody out there. This is Vijay Bhavaskar from Keep the Ball Rolling, a consulting firm which works in innovation and technology. I have been in Brazil since last 21 years working in pharma segment. I have been heading operations for Vocard, Lupin, Entas, and core healthcare, hydro drugs. So with this 21 year of rich experience that I possess, I can really help you out to keep your ball rolling in the business sector. I provide a good amount of strategic input for business development, for company establishment, strategy, entry strategy, merger and acquisitions. So we'll talk tomorrow in detail. If you have any of this requirement to enter to Brazil, I'm available to keep the ball rolling. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now may I request Mr. Venugopal D to unmute your mic and introduce your company.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, sir.
We Bharat Coats, manufacturers of tablets coating materials. We are exporting to many Asian countries and Nigeria. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Please go ahead, sir.
We have got US DMF and it's an ISO 9001 to 2015 organization. We manufacture under a drug license from Drug Authorities of India. And we are looking for best partners for our business for this Brazilian market. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now, may I request Shruti Shirali to introduce your company. I request Shruti Shirali to introduce your company.
I have sound now.
Please go ahead, sir.
Okay, thanks. I'm Fernando. I'm CEO from Nunes Pharma. I visit once a year minimum India since 2007, more than 10 years. Thank you, Pharmaceutical and Indian Brazil Chamber for the opportunity. Our company has 40 years old, and Nunes Pharma is a leader in sales in Brazil in the segment of pharmaceutical products for the hospitals and public health system, the tender business. We're looking for finished products. We have all the necessary license to import the medicines and finished products and sell these products here in Brazil pharmaceutical market. Please, I'm personally at the disposal to know your company. Looking for building together a prosperous long-term partnership. See you tomorrow. Thanks.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, may I request Anshu Rathod to unmute the mic and introduce the company. May I request Anshu Rathod to unmute the mic and introduce the company.
Hello, everyone. Anshu this side. I'm representing Molchem Chemicals, a company based in India and having our offices in Brazil, Colombia, Vietnam. We are into the export and regulatory marketing consultancy. We already have a good partnership with our partners in the Brazil and India, and looking towards probable opportunities, further opportunities in the Brazil market as well as in India market. We understand the regulatory requirements, we understand the marketing business of Brazil and India, and hence will be a good partner for our clients who are into the pharmaceutical business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, may I request once again Leticia Oliveira to please recognize the Brazilian pharma companies and please let us know in the chat box so that we can call them and they can introduce their company.
Hi, Lakshmi. I'm not sure if I can see everyone in the room. Are all of the participants now panelists?
Yes, we have made all the attendees as a panelists.
Sorry, I couldn't understand you.
We have made all the attendees as panelists, ma'am. You can call one by one, or we will call them. You please ask them to unmute their mic and introduce the company.
All right, so let's see. I'm seeing Mr. Mauricio. Are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Mauricio. Mr. Frederico, are you there? Mr. Fernando Teixeira from ACG, can you hear us? Lakshmi, I guess these are the remaining names from Brazil.
Thank you, Leticia.
You're
If any
welcome.
participant from Brazil is missed out to be called, please identify yourself and introduce yourself.
As far as we have seen that there is no technical problems from our end, there is some problem from somewhere. So we will come back to them tomorrow as they will be participating again in the tomorrow's event. Now, may I request Dr. Nishant, unmute the mic and introduce yourself. I request Dr. Nishant, unmute the mic and introduce yourself. Okay, we will move on to the next participant. May I request Neelam Pahwa to unmute the mic and introduce yourself and your company.
Hi, Lakshmi, Dr. Nishant, can I speak?
Please go ahead.
So I'm a manager international business at FDC Limited. FDC Limited is a company which is established in 1936. So we are specialized into ophthalmic formulations. We export our formulations to US, Europe, and other ROW countries. So we are interested to export our ophthalmic other products to Brazil. We are looking forward to get associated with companies who are interested to get in touch with us. I'll post the company email address and the website, so the interested companies can get in touch with us. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I request Samir Sarte to unmute the mic and introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning, everyone in Brazil, to all the participants. I'm Samir Surte. I'm the General Manager, International Marketing for FDC Limited. My colleague Nishant has just given a brief about FDC as an organization. So we are an 80-year-old company ranked currently 25th in IMS ORG ranking in India. And we specialize in manufacturing of ophthalmic products, oral cephalosporins, and oral rehydration salts. Electral is one of the largest brands in India. It's a household name. And we are exporting our products worldwide, ophthalmics in particular, to all the Latin American markets. As Dr. Nishant rightly said, we are actually looking forward to supplying and registering our ophthalmic products in Brazil. And we would be interested in reaching out to distributors and pharma companies in Brazil who would be interested in the ophthalmic range of products for Brazilian market. So I look forward to connecting with people and companies from Brazil for ophthalmic products in particular. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now, may I request Jilvan Silva to please unmute your mic and introduce yourself. I request Mr. Jilvan Silva to unmute the mic and introduce your company. We will move on to the next speaker. May I request Preet Sharma, unmute the mic and introduce yourself and your company.
Greetings all. This is Preet from India. Good afternoon, everyone in Brazil. It's a pleasure to introduce Molkem. I already see very familiar names on the panel. So Molkem is a 6-year-old company based out of India with offices in Brazil, Colombia, and Vietnam. We have a 2-people strong team, an expanding team in Brazil, catering to a range of markets, pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, and food and nutra. We are predominantly involved in active ingredients, advanced intermediates, pellets, and also out licensing of finished formulations. We have a strong relationship with many customers in Brazil and a growing presence in all over Latin America, since the focus that we have is non-English speaking markets. And it would be a pleasure to connect with all of you today and tomorrow during this session. So look forward to the same, and leave our details of the company website for all of you to know more about us and for the partnerships that we can build during today and tomorrow. So thanks for this opportunity, and looking forward to fruitful collaboration with some of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Preet Shah. Now, may I request Manish Jajodia to unmute the mic and introduce yourself and your company.
Hi, good afternoon to all. This is Manish Jajodia from Anzen Exports, India. We are merchant exporters from India. It's a 29-year-old company. We source pharmaceutical products, raw material, nutraceuticals from India and exports to more than 50 countries around the world. We have a turnover of around $70 million. We are very much present in Latin American market. So any of the participants interested in having a collaboration with us, do meet us tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. A small announcement once again. As you are aware that due to some float problem, we shifted from float to WebEx. We are very sorry for that, but tomorrow again we will be shifting from WebEx to float meeting. It will be very useful for all the companies to use this wonderful opportunity to introduce yourself, and also with the Brazilian companies extend your exports. Tomorrow we will be sending a unique link to all the participants. You can use that unique link to join tomorrow's event. Now, for tomorrow's float demo, we will be giving a brief demo. We will show you how you have to join tomorrow's float. So I request each and every participant to please be attentive. We will be running a brief demo for tomorrow's floor meeting.
Thanks for your patience. I'll be taking a brief demo on the floor platform for the interest of the members both from India and Brazil. You can have a look on the floor platform and you can understand how you could do the business meetings tomorrow. Hope you can see my screen. So we will be sending unique links to everyone. And the moment you click on that, you will be directly landing onto the floor platform. Hope you can see my screen. So on the left-hand side, there is an option called booths. Here, we have created individual booths for all the Indian companies. And there are about 80 Indian companies are participating in the business meetings tomorrow. So to have the business meetings, click on the booth section and you could find out and you can see the list of companies exhibiting their products during this business networking session. You can search their name even in the search tab, which is just behind the booth section. So now I'm trying to identify the Pharmaceutical booth. So you could see the booth created for Pharmaceutical. And if you wanted to have a meeting with that specific booth, just click on enter. Then you will be sending a request to the booth admin that you are willing to have a meeting with them. And then you will be finding a boardroom option at the top right corner. Just click on the boardroom. This means that an invitation is going to the booth admin, that is the exhibitor from Indian side, and you will be waiting for his invitation to invite you into the room. Now I have just sent an invite to Pharmaceutical booth admin and requesting him to allow me to enter this booth. All right. So it seems there is no one inside the booth. That's why it is showing 0 inside. If the booth admin is there inside the booth, then the number of the person is visible here. Suppose if 2 admins of the company are there in the booth, then number of the persons will be visible at this tab. So now you could see there is a person inside the boardroom of Pharmaceutical. So I have sent an invitation to them directly. So the moment they accept my invitation, yes, I got a notification here that the booth admin has allowed me to enter the booth. So I'm clicking on accept. Then I'll be directly entering into the booth of the Indian company. So like this way, we can have one-to-one meetings with the Indian companies. And here, if you wanted to share any of the information or any of the documents, you can also share your screen by clicking on the present button at the right side. And at the right hand side, you could see some of the options, that is mic, camera, present, discuss, polls, team. So these are the basic features that you can mute or unmute yourself and switch it on and switch it off your camera. And if you wanted to share something and if you wanted to present something, click on present option. Then it will be asking you to share your screen. So by clicking on that, there will be again 3 options, your entire screen or application window. It is preferred to use the application window and specifically open particular document. So in this way, you can share any of the document that you wanted to show it to the other delegate. So this is the way how you should have a one-to-one business meetings tomorrow. So I'm exiting the booth now. So for exiting the booth, you can click the leave button at the right-hand side. There is a tab called leave at the right-hand bottom side. So if you click on that, you will be leaving that booth. And then again, if you wanted to join for other booths, then go back to booth section and identify the specific company. And in the similar way, you can have meetings with them. Alternatively, if you wanted to send a specific message to presenter or a visitor in the booth, you can also send, you can identify the audience of the floor by clicking at the lobby button. So at the left-hand side, there is an option called lobby. And if you click on that lobby, you can see the visitors available or the visitors present on the floor. Those who are having this green dot indicates that they are live and they are active on the floor platform. So there is a chat button next to the individual person. You can send a specific message to the particular person by clicking on this chat box button. Now I'm sending a message to Pharmaceutical Guideline. So likewise, we can send individual message to the specific visitor by identifying themselves in the lobby. And for having the one-to-one meetings, you straight away have to go to booths and identify their booth and just click on the enter. So this is how you could easily identify the company and have the business meetings. I hope I'm able to explain you in a detailed way. And I would be happy to take questions if anybody is having any specific question on usage of this floor platform. I sincerely suggest you to spend 5 minutes on the floor. You can easily identify the features of different options available. It's all self-explanatory. You could, it won't take much time to understand the features of this.
Mrs. Prasanna, Ms. Prasanna.
Yes, Mr. Shastri, please.
Can I ask you one question? When do you start this entry to booth and?
So the timings of the tomorrow's program is at 4:30 p.m. that is India time and 8 a.m. of the Brazil time. So the floor will be open from 4:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. tomorrow. In the Brazil time, it is 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. So the floor will be open and the visitors are open to come and explore the features of booths, and they can have a networking session and they can have one-to-one meetings.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'll be happy to take any other questions.
Can I introduce myself now? I miss your earlier, opportunity which you gave me.
Just a minute, Mr. Shastri. Let me stop sharing my screen and go back to the session. Yeah. Mr. Shastri, you may please introduce yourself.
Good morning to all my Brazilian pharma professionals. I am Shastri. I do international business development consultancy and market research. I also undertake commercial, regulatory, and technology consultancy services. I would like to have a business cooperation Brazilian pharma professionals who are assembled here. So to enable to understand the area, may I request you to share your email IDs with me so we can engage in further discussions. I take this opportunity to thank Pharmaceutical team for trying to create these, for their efforts to create the synergies among the Brazil and Indian pharmaceutical. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shastri.
Ms. Lakshmi, this is Nishant here from Tarush Healthcare.
Please, Ms. Please.
Yeah, I have a question. If the visitor can access the list of booths and see who are the exhibitors, what kind of product they are presenting. Is there any way for a exhibitor to understand the list of visitors, access the list of visitor and what kind of profile they have? Is it possible for us to do it?
Mr. Nishant, the profiles of the Indian exhibitors are only uploaded in the system, and only the visitors can access their profiles. However, you could see the names of the visitors in that lobby section.
Okay. Okay. Okay, Ms. Lakshmi, thank you so much. Also, we missed our introduction part. If it is possible, we would like to do that if you have time.
A quick 2 minutes, Mr. Nishant. We are running late of
I
time.
know that's the reason I asked for your permission.
Please, just 2 minutes introduction.
Good afternoon to all our Brazilian counterparts, and good evening to all our Indian friends. We are Tarush Healthcare. My name is Nishant Dale. We are a Mumbai-based export-oriented company with R&D setup also in Mumbai. Our core strength lies in development of innovative products. We have injection like hyaluronic acid injection and also ophthalmic lubricant range. We'll share a detailed product range with you tomorrow. And looking forward to do some business in Brazil market. We are very strong in Middle East and Southeast Asian countries as well as Africa. But we are looking forward to do some business in Central America and other Latin American countries also. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Nishant. And as we mentioned earlier, so all of you will be receiving the joining links from events@pharmexcel.com. And I hope all the Indian exhibitors have already received their booth links. And the participants from Brazil will be receiving the joining links tomorrow by tonight, by the end of the day in your time. If anybody is facing some issues or not getting any links from our side, you may please feel free to write to my email ID, that is regulatory@pharmexcel.com.
Introduce my company. Jatia.
Yes, please.
I am Ashok Bajaj from Hindustan Phosphates Private Limited. We manufacture dicalcium phosphate and tricalcium, which is used as excipient in formulations, particularly tablets and capsules. We are Indian-based manufacturer and we have USP certification along with any excipients from India, India's leading manufacturer. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. So I have just noted down my email ID in the chat box. If anybody is facing issues in getting their links or any issues in joining the floor platform, you can write to us at regulatory@pharmexcel.com, and we will be happy to resolve the issues being faced by yourselves, and we'll make our best efforts to take you onto the floor and to have business meetings.
Hello, Ms. Lakshmi. You had given us the booth link earlier. So same link we have to use it now for tomorrow's session?
For all the Indian exhibitors, the earlier links what we have shared remains the same. You can join your booth using that link. We will be sending the joining links for the Brazil companies tonight. So that is by the end of the day today. And you can directly access the floor with that link.
Okay, thank you.
Hope all of you are clear on the features of floor, so you can start exploring yourselves and have business meetings tomorrow. I hope we have called out all the names both from India and Brazil for their introductory session today. And we thank you for your patient listening and active participation in this program. And we are looking forward to your active business networking and business meetings tomorrow on the floor platform. Thanks once again. And we will be calling off this meeting, and Pharmexcel is always looking forward to actively engage with the Brazilian side and to matchmake the Indian companies with Brazil companies, and we will be happy to extend our complete support in encouraging Indian participation or Indian exports in the Brazil market. And for any kind of support, you may feel free to write to regulatory@pharmexcel from Pharmexcel side. We will be taking it at priority, and we will be identifying or extend our complete support. Thanks once again, and have a Good day and good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Good night.
Obrigado. Dainabad.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello. Hello.